Have you bought something that you didn't like, and after giving your money and take the product, you realized, I've made a wrong decision? Why do you think it happens? Let's try to break down the puzzle and figure out how individuals decide, choose, and buy things, and then trace a parallel with the corporate purchasing. We've learned in the marketing class that there is a buying process that most customers follow. It starts with the need recognition. Then, usually people search for information about products. They identify alternatives, and then make the decision which product they will buy. After using the product, they may like it or be frustrated with their choice. Even educated customers may regret after buying something. Can be their own feelings about the product or motivated by opinions from friends and family. If these things can happen with a simple personal purchasing, imagine what can happen in a corporate purchasing. By comparing personal and corporate purchases, we can gain insights about the professional purchasing work. What are the differences between personal and corporate purchasing? In the personal side, it is based on our personal needs and desires. It is your own decision all the way through. You have a need, have the money, you alone can decide to buy. Choose the product that you like, buy, pay, take the product with you, and use it as you want. In the other hand, in companies, as a purchasing professional, you are responsible for fulfilling the needs of other people. The buying decision is made by a bunch of people. The payment is handled by some guys. The product transportation, storage, and usage by people that you may not know. Now let's explore why corporate purchasing is more complicated and risky. It is mainly because the needs come from distinct groups and people. And worse, these needs can be contradictory. For instance, operations may want the best equipment that can be more expensive. That may be contrary to the marketing needs to price the product in a competitive range. To find out the best overall solution for all business units, the work must be coordinated in a purchasing process. If well done, the purchasing process can bring several benefits. Maximize value, promote savings, develop relationships with external partners that can leverage innovation, acquire components and materials with high quality, reduce time to market, reduce supply risk, and support business continuity, increase contribution to profits, improve the competitive advantage. The purchasing process and the activity procedures help purchasing professionals to find the most suitable solution for the company. Next, let's check the main activities of the corporate purchasing process. The needs usually arise from sales forecast and production plans. Then there is a very critical step to identify, sort, and define the requirements that will be fulfilled by the purchase. After, the purchasing department should look for and choose suppliers that they can provide the solutions according to the requirements. Also, the purchase team has to negotiate the technical and commercial terms. The purchasing is placed, items are received, verified, and put available for the company. After receiving the materials, there is lots of work to be done. Follow up with internal clients about the deliveries, quality of the materials, and if the contract terms are being followed.
What is a supply chain? A supply chain is a global network used to deliver products and services, from raw materials to end customers, through an engineered flow of information, physical distribution, and cash. Basic supply chain for a product. The below figure illustrates a very basic supply chain with 3 entities, a producer with 1 supplier and 1 customer. 4 basic flows that connect the supply chain entities together are as follows. Flow of physical materials and services from suppliers to the end customer. Flow of cash from the customer to the raw materials supplier. Flow of information back and forth along the chain. And reverse flow of product returned. A basic supply chain in this figure is made up of these entities. Seller is a supplier who provides goods and services, or a person or organization with whom the buyer does business. Their generic term in marketplace is seller. Supplier provides materials, energy, services, or components for a product or service, such as plastic, fabric, electric wiring, or aircraft. A producer is the one who receives components from the seller to produce a finished good or service, such as shirts from fabric, crockery from plastic, power from electric wiring, or provides transportation through aircraft. The customer is the one who receives the finished product. That is the one who wears those shirts, uses the crockery, turns on the lights, or flies in an aeroplane. Flows in supply chains. There are 4 flows in supply chains. Information flow includes invoices, sales literature, specifications, receipts, orders, and rules and regulations. Primary cash flow includes payments of products and supplies. Primary product flow includes materials, components, supplies, services, and finished products. Reverse product flow includes returns for repair, replacements, recycling, and disposals. Supply chain in manufacturing. Consider a complex manufacturing supply chain model that appears in corporate supply chains. In this model, you will notice the second tier of suppliers and more distribution centers and customers. These suppliers supply materials as well as services. You put the manufacturing at the center and suppliers of components to the immediate left. The Tier 1 suppliers have their own suppliers in Tier 2. For example, Tier 1 supplier might be a wholesale food distributor that purchases flour from its own supplier. This supply chain for flour starts from farmer's wheat field, which is supplied to the food distributor, processed in a plant, shipped to wholesalers, and distributed to the stores. No matter how far you travel toward the left, you will never run out of new tiers of suppliers. Primary product flows from left to right, and primary cash flows from right to left. Supply chain in services. Initially, the supply chain model was developed for manufacturing, but service industry has supply chains too. A few examples of services industries are electricity provider, legal advisor, real estate, construction, software house, and even federal government. In its broadest sense, service industries include all organizations except farming, mining, and manufacturing. Below exhibit illustrates the supply chain of an electric utility. It receives products, services, and supplies, and dispenses its services to home customers, commercial customers, and to other utilities. Stages of supply chain management evolution. The advances in supply chain management are reflected in each supply chain's development. What is supply chain management? It is the management of the flow of goods and services. It includes the movement and storage of raw materials, work-in-process inventory, and finished goods from point of origin to point of consumption. Every product that reaches an end user represents the cumulative effort of multiple organizations. Some organizations have only paid attention to what was happening within their 4 walls, while some did not. But the entire chain of activities ultimately delivered products to the final customer. The result was disjointed and often ineffective supply chain.
Supply chain management involves the coordination to acquire, to access, to transport, and to place all resources required for the business. Purchasing is the work of obtaining goods and contracting services. Therefore, purchasing activities are present all over the enterprise, in the supply chain, operations, and administrative functions. Every time the company needs to acquire materials or contract service, the purchasing team is involved.